Hello and welcome to the tutorial on how to create cylinders in Illustrator. I'm going to show you first how to create a simple cylinder like this one, and then I'll move on to a more advanced cylinder in perspective. Okay, let's start with this basic cylinder made without the perspective tool. I'll move that off to the side. Cylinders are made up of three shapes, two ellipses, and one rectangle. So I'm going to start with an ellipse right here. I'm going to fill it in with some color. And I am going to get my selection tool and simply copy and paste it a little ways down. Next, I need a rectangle to go in between the two ellipses. I'm going to start here right at the farthest left point on that cylinder, and I'm going to extend all the way to the farthest right point and down a ways until I'm happy with the height, and release. Now what I need to do is take this bottom cylinder and move it up so that it is centered right on that bottom line of the rectangle. Okay, so I have something that looks like this. Now I need to decide which of my two cylinders is going to show. Right here I have the top one showing, so I'll do the same here. I'm going to change the color to a little bit of a highlight so that it looks like the light's showing on it. And I need to arrange, bring to front. Okay, the last step is that I want to take this cylinder and merge it with this rectangle. So I need to have window, pathfinder, and I'm going to use this unite option. Okay, so I'm going to click, hold shift, and click that rectangle. And now when I press unite, they are one. And there's your simple cylinder. Let's move on to a more advanced cylinder using perspective. So remember that to activate perspective, you click right here on your perspective grid tool. Okay, I'm going to start with the rectangle this time. Let me zoom in. And I am going to create the rectangle actually outside of that grid. So I just pressed Control-Shift-I to make that go away. And remember that if you want to make it go away, you can also just go to View, Perspective Grid, and Hide Grid. Okay, I don't want it in perspective. I actually just want it to be a regular old rectangle. And now when I reactivate that, I need the cylinder on top and the cylinder on bottom, but here's the big difference. When I make my ellipse this time, I'm going to have it in perspective. Now I don't want it in left grid perspective or right, I actually want it in horizontal, that's the green one. I'm going to do my best to hold and drag. You can see it wants to go some weird different ways, and what I'm going to do is hold shift and get it about the size I want. And release. It's not quite the same as the cylinder we created over here because it's in perspective. I'm going to do my best to draw it down now, and I've got this side to match up. I want this side to match up a little bit better, so I'm going to just scale it down, and I'm going to try and hold shift so that it stays in proportion. There we go. I think that's pretty good. This doesn't quite line up with that, but I'm happy with this side over here, so I'm going to take my direct selection tool, click on this one anchor point, and I can now move the one anchor freely. Okay, so that is the top part. Now I'm going to go to the bottom and do pretty much the same thing. Select my ellipse tool, do my best to make it about the right size, and I am holding shift the whole time. When you hold shift, you're ensuring that it is a perfect circle in perspective. All right, I can see that this is a little small, so I am going to hold shift and increase it in size just a bit. There we go. Ooh, I'm happy with that. Once again, I want my rectangle to match up with the furthest most point here on the ellipse and the furthest most point here on the ellipse. So I'm going to drag this down so that at least these two meet up, going to have to do the same thing here where I get my direct selection tool, click on the one anchor, and then move that anchor on down until it matches up with the cylinder. Okay, well, let me go out, out, out. And if I want to, I can hold Shift, select all three, and unite them. Now you'll notice this cylinder looks a bit different than this one. Here I can see the top, and here I can't. The reason for that is that my cylinder extends above and below the horizon line. So I actually can't see the top or the bottom of the cylinder because my view is right here where the horizon line is right in the middle. Now if I were to start the cylinder down here and end below the horizon line, you actually would see a little bit of an ellipse peeping through. I'm going to go ahead and show you that now. If you don't need to see that, you can stop the video. All right, let's start with a rectangle. And this time I'm going to start and oops, I'm in perspective. I forgot we have to get rid of the perspective. Make it a regular old rectangle. And this time I am starting and ending below the horizon line right there. Okay, I'm back in perspective. I'm going to grab my ellipse tool again, change my color slightly, and let's go ahead and create that ellipse in perspective. Hold Shift, get it about the size you want. Oops, I think I messed that up. I'm going to try again. Hold Shift, and need a little bit of finagling. Okay, there we go. It's off just a touch, so I'm going to move it right over here and hold Shift to resize it. Now I'm having a bit of trouble resizing it because it's pretty touchy and because I'm on a laptop, but there we go. Oh, I think that's right on. I'm going to do direct selection tool, click on that one anchor, pull it up, and there we go. I don't think I need to finish off the bottom for you to show you how to do that. Make sure not to leave a straight bottom though. You want it to be curved just like this. But check out this top. It is perfectly in perspective and we can see it because it's below the horizon line. Okay, happy perspective cylinder making.